Hi everyone and welcome. Lisa here for Honeybee Stamps. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm sharing this super simple step out card with you. Now I have a few things laid out here in front of me, a mix of old and new products that I'm going to be using. I have the new Autumn Buzzword stamp and die, the Itty Bitty Leaves and Itty Bitty Pumpkins, along with the Harvest Festival paper pack. And you can see I've done a little bit of prep work just to move things along. I'm going to get started by creating my card base. This is a 4 1/4 inch by 11 inch piece of Neenah 100-pound Desert Storm cardstock. I'm just going to score it on the 5.5 inch score line, and this is going to create a standard A2 card base for our card. Now, if you already have card bases made up, you can start with those. I have a piece of black cardstock that measures 1.5 inches wide by 11 inches long. Now we're going to score this 2 times. We're going to start out by scoring it on the 2 3/4 of an inch score line, and then again on the 5.5 inch score line. So that's 2 3/4 of an inch and then 5.5 inches. Now, once you have it scored, I'm going to go ahead and fold it over and give it a good crease on that 5.5 inch score line. And then we fold it down on that 2 3/4 of an inch score line. And that's going to create our step out for our card. So easy. So next up, I have a piece of pattern paper from the Harvest Festival pack, if I can get it out. And I've cut it to 4 inches wide by 5.5 inches high. I'm going to use my honeybee glue to go ahead and center that up on my card base. Now, this is where I want to encourage you to make it your own. Use whatever pattern papers you have on hand. Cut it to whatever size. Maybe you don't want the insets on the sides. Maybe you want it offset to the left or to the right. That part is completely up to you. Next up, we're going to add our black cardstock to the center of our card base. And I just went ahead and added glue to the back of that, and I'm going to center it up. I have a piece of pattern paper here that measures 1 3/8 of an inch by 5.5 inches. Glue to the back of it and center it on that black cardstock. Now, don't worry, I'll have all the measurements over on my blog post for you, and I'll have that linked in the description box below. So we'll set that aside for a second so we can go ahead and start layering up the squares that we have here. So Desert Storm cardstock, and it's 3.5 inch square. This black cardstock is 3 3/8 of an inch square, and then that pattern paper is 3 1/4 inch square. I'm going to layer that up using my glue, and then we'll add it to our card base. So a little bit of glue to our black cardstock, and then we're going to center our squares off of the entirety of the card. And now we have our card ready to go. We just need to decorate it. So easy. I went ahead and I ran those itty bitty pumpkins and itty bitty leaves through the die cut machine so that we can move this on along. I'm going to layer up that autumn word. I'm using my liquid adhesive. I have the bottom layer is the Desert Storm cardstock, and then I use the black for the shadow, and then I use pattern paper for the top layer of my autumn word. Black foam adhesives to the back, and then I'm going to center this up on our 3.5 inch square. All of the little pieces were cut from pattern paper from the Harvest Festival pack, and I'm using black foam adhesives to add those around the word. I added 3 little pumpkins on that bottom right corner with some leaves around it, and then some leaves up above the word as well. Now, you could skip this part if you wanted to. It's just a strip of pattern paper that is 4 inches wide by 1/2 inch high. and I just thought it would add some interest to the card. And I did stamp the rest of the sentiment onto black cardstock with Versamark ink, and I heat embossed it with gold embossing powder because to me nothing says autumn like gold embossing powder. And I'm using black foam adhesives to go ahead and adhere that directly beneath the word autumn, and then snip the tail end of that off. I'm going to finish this off with some gem stickers that coordinate with my pattern paper. I did decide to go ahead and dress out the rest of the card because I had enough paper, scrap paper left over. So I'm just cutting pieces down to size to dress it out. And that's going to bring us to the end of the video. Let me know what you think about this step out in the comments below. I really appreciate you joining me today. I hope you'll click the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of new content to the channel. And for more information on the products used, you can head over to the Honeybee Stamps website. And until next week, take care and keep crafting.